Hey there, it's Shar with Citygirl Events, and I'm here to talk a little bit today about your guest list. I know, one of the most stressful things. Grab a glass of wine, get settled in. We're going to talk the down and dirty about your guest list. So I have been doing this for over 9 years, and what I can tell you is that this is one of the most difficult parts of wedding planning that my clients have ever had to deal with. And I really do recommend getting some wine or Prosecco or even some really good food, because we're going to talk through this. It's not going to take too long. It's just going to take a little bit of time, but want to get through who to invite, who you don't need to invite, who you're having FOMO, fear of missing out, and all of the other fun things. So let's talk a little bit about the who's who of your wedding, who makes up your wedding guest list. Obviously, the two of you, you need to be there, so don't forget to put your names on the guest list as well as what you're eating. So we want to talk about that. A lot of couples forget to put themselves and their food preferences on the list. The next thing is your immediate families. Parents, siblings, step-siblings, the other VIPs, right? So you need to make sure that they're on there. Don't forget your brother. Even if you don't like him, sometimes make sure he's on the list. Extended family. So this one's interesting, right? How extended do you go? There are some people that have one cousin on each side of their family, and that's it. You're lucky. You're done. It's less expensive. And there are some people that have big families, and they have, 8 aunts and uncles on one side and 7 on the other, and all of their, those kids from those families, and then grandkids and all of that stuff. So I would say that it depends on your vision. So when you and your fiance sit down to look at what type of wedding you're having, what type of reception, how big of a space you're having, I would really consider how far, and talk to your parents. It's good to have that conversation with your close family about the expectations, right? And sometimes when certain people pay for the wedding, they have certain things that they say, okay, well, we have to have, Aunt Betsy and Uncle John come to the wedding. Like, we can't forget them. So I would say when you and your fiance sit down, determine how big your wedding is going to be, how far extended you're going to go. If it's cousins that you haven't talked to in 20 years and your parents wouldn't be offended if you're not going to invite them, then don't invite them. You want to be able to look at your photos and know who's there and actually have a fond connection to those people without, also on the other side, you don't want to offend anyone by not having them show up. So definitely you and your fiance sit down, again, look at the vision, look at what you're trying to do, and then talk to your family if you're not sure about how far out to extend invitations, and then you go from there. So that's about the extended family. Now we're going to talk about friends. Do you love your friends enough to pay over $150 per person on food? I know that sounds really harsh, but really, or whatever it is in your market, think about how good of friends you are, and would they be offended if you just had a small celebration with them after the wedding? Sometimes if you have bigger families too, that it's difficult because you want to or have to invite all of them, that you don't have that much room left for other friends and other people that you might have wanted to invite might have wanted to invite, but you didn't have room. So I would think about, as far as friends, how far in your friend circle do you want to go? Obviously, your close friends will be invited, but then second and third tier acquaintances, I would really consider, is that more of just a celebration after the wedding, or or if they need to come, or if they're on a B or a C list. Let's talk about coworkers. This one is always a little stressful, and this can be coworkers of the couple or of the parents. Sometimes parents want to invite coworkers, which is always a little stressful. So if the parents are paying for the wedding, they kind of have a say over who gets invited, I would consider and just try to have them limit how many coworkers of theirs actually show up, because you want to leave room for your family member and your friends as well. But I would say if it's your coworkers as the couple, I would really consider who you're inviting, how much room you have in your guest list. If you cannot invite your coworkers, usually they'll understand, because people know, okay, you have all your family and then you have your best friend since kindergarten and your college roommate, and you have all these other people that have come into your life before them. So they usually understand. But if it's a situation where you're high up in your company or you have a lot of really close friends, I would consider maybe leaving room for maybe a table or two of coworkers if you can. But if you can't, people understand. So celebrating with them before or after the wedding is always okay too. Everything with the guest list is on a case-by-case basis. So if you have questions, feel free to leave them in the comments. Click the thumbs up button if you liked what you saw today, and hit subscribe for more wedding planning tips and details from Citygirl Events. Thanks so much, guys. Take care.